There's no such thing as a full-blooded Cherokee Indian. The Cherokee is a nation and not a race. So the question of the day is, what race were they? Now, and I know 2023 about to be 2024, and the alphabet people now created 1,000 different races and 100 different genders. But biologically, there's only 2 different genders and there's only 3 different races. The word race in humans is synonymous with the word species or breed. Each race started off as an individual species in antiquity. The 3 races are Negroid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid, and everybody on the planet belongs to either one or a combination of these 3 races. The Negroid is the oldest race and is represented in science as the Homo sapien. The word Negroid is a synonym with the word human or earthling. The Negro is represented by Y DNA haplogroups A through E and have what we know in science as dominant human traits such as dark skin, kinky hair, and dark eyes. The Negroid is the first hominid species and possessed a 9-ether DNA structure, which made them the most genetically diverse. We did not originate in Africa, but we were born all over the planet Earth. The next 2 races, the Mongoloid and the Caucasoid, make up the species known as Homo sapiens sapien, aka mankind or modern human. Because the Mongoloid and the Caucasoid both have a 6-ether DNA structure, they are genetically very similar to each other. They possess the Y DNA haplogroups F through Q, with R being the most prevalent in Europe and O and Q representing most modern Asians. The Mongoloid and the Caucasoid can be put into a category called non-indigenous or modern human, while a Negroid can be put into a category called indigenous or primitive human. So just like everybody on the planet is either a boy or a girl based on XX or XY gene, everybody on the planet is genetically either one or a combination of these 3 races. There's no such thing as an Arab, that's an ethnic group. There's no such thing as a Palestinian, that's a nationality. And there's no such thing as a Jew, that's a religion. And now for the fun part. What race are all of these nationalities and ethnic groups? Let's get to it. So what race are the Palestinians? The Palestinians are predominantly Caucasian, originating in the Western Steppe region and the Caucasus regions. So what about the Israelis? The Israelis are also Caucasian, originating from the Khazarian Empire. So according to DNA, both the Israelis and the Palestinians are Caucasian. It would hit a little different if we got rid of these titles and we just said the Caucasians are fighting each other in the Middle East. Fun fact, it's illegal to get an ancestry DNA test in Israel without a court order or a doctor's prescription. That's because they don't want y'all to know that they're from the Khazarian Empire and that they are the exact same people as the Ukrainians. So while the Democrats giving all of the money to the Ukrainians, the Republicans giving all the money to the Israelis, they're the same group of people genetically. So what about the modern day Egyptians? Modern day Egyptians are predominantly Caucasian, descendants of the Scythian invaders known as Hyksos and the Hittites. We know that the original Egyptians were of the Negro race, as the great Pharaoh Ramses' DNA was a E1B1A, which is of the Negroid race. That means that him and all of his fathers and sons also shared that same E1B1 DNA strand. The builders of the pyramids were definitely Negro. We know this because the recessive Caucasian traits are younger than the ancient Egyptian structures. Let's move to North America. What race are the Mexicans? Mexicans are the mixed-blooded mestizos and the products of the caste system of colonization. Mexicans and most Central and South Americans are mixed with all 3 races, consisting of an indigenous Negro ancestor mixed with a Caucasian or a Mongoloid conqueror. The Mongoloids and the Caucasoid worked together to take the Americas in the 1500s. That's why a lot of Mexican DNA shows small percent of sub-Saharan African DNA, which actually just means indigenous 9-ether DNA. Mexicans are sometimes called Chinos in reference to these Chinese colonizers, who were later reclassified as American Indians by the Spanish in order to eradicate the evidence of the indigenous Black American. That brings us to Native Americans, like the Cherokee. What race are they? While we know that the indigenous Americans are the Negroid race and that the blacks in America are actually the descendants of the indigenous Americans, Native Americans like the Cherokee are a biracial group consisting of all 3 races, which can be proven by a DNA test. The Cherokee, like the Mexicans, are a mixture of the European and Asian colonizers that assimilated with indigenous women in the 1500s. The Cherokee are a multicultural nation founded in the 1700s. So again, there's no such thing as a full-blooded Cherokee. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people, but this is why so many Americans, white and black, can claim heritage to the Cherokee, because they very well may have had an ancestor that belonged to that nation at some point in history. There's no genetic way to trace a Cherokee. That's no different than the Yamasee, the Seminole, or my family's nation, the Wassamasaw. We're all multicultural at this point. So to sum it all up, learn the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. For example, my race is Negro, my ethnicity is Etowah, and my nationality is Wassamasaw. How about y'all? Do you know your race, ethnicity, and nationality? Leave it down in the comments below. Everybody on the planet is either a boy or a girl, and they're either black, white, or Asian. Never be ashamed of who you are. Peace out, people.